All right, guys, back again once more with, as you see on the screen, guitar practice session, minor pentatonic intervals. So, what we're going to get into today is, I just wanted to sit down and practice a little bit. I practiced a lot last night, and I wanted to do some more tonight. So, I'm going to check the stream real quick, make sure the sound is doing all right. Last time I had a lot of issues with that, but I think I might have figured it out. Hopefully. Screen guitar practice session. Good deal. So, sounds like it's doing good. Just bear with me. Hopefully, this will be the last you see of these pantyhose lined headphones. The lining, likes to tear off and fall out and everything, getting all in my hair. But I've ordered some new headphones that should be here tomorrow, and then I can start streaming with some nice looking headphones, and nice sounding headphones, hopefully. But tonight is all about practice, and it's actually pretty late to be practicing. It's a little past 12:30 in the morning here in Tennessee. So I've been wanting to get back into practicing guitar, and mainly it's because everybody's got their guitar heroes. If you play guitar, everybody's got your heroes, right? So my heroes are Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, Paul Gilbert. That's the main three that I myself am a lot interested in, okay? And hopefully you can hear my voice. It looked like it was coming through on the stream. But there's another guy that has recently come to my attention, and I cannot get enough of his sound. I originally heard him on Spotify as I was listening to Vinnie Moore playlist. That's another inspiration that over the last year or two has come to my attention. Vinnie Moore is a beast on guitar. The riffs he comes up with, I don't understand how he even does it. Can't fathom it. But as a result of listening to his stuff, it has related artists. And this guy came on the scene, and I've got to show you just one of his videos. You can get online and check out some more. But his name is Marco Svoli, and he is an Italian guitarist, and he is a beast. And what really intrigues me most about him is that he is not a typical rock star looking guy. He's just a plain guy, kind of a medium build, and not these long, slender, slinky guys you see like Steve Vai and Paul Gilbert and a lot of the other ones. He is just an ordinary, average looking guy, and he reminds me of myself, a lot more slender, obviously, but he reminds me of myself. He's got a goatee. He's got, thinning hair, and he's normal in every sense of the word, except for he plays guitar like a madman. And so I'm going to switch to my screen share real quick, if I can remember which button it is. And we're going to go over here and just watch a little bit of one of his videos here that you've really got to see. And I've got to get the right one. Let's see here. It should be right here. Okay, so I just looked up Marco Svoli, and the spelling is S-F-O-G-L-I. Okay, and this is one of them that's one of my favorites. It's called Nothing Is Lost. He does a lot of stuff on Jam Track Central, and so let's check out a listen to this really quick. Bear with me, my computer's using all these resources, so this should be playing through fairly nicely over here. Obviously, we don't want to hear any ads, so hopefully those won't be playing. Kind of a slow connection tonight for some reason. Okay, so you see how that works. Let me check the sound real quick, make sure that's going through. Okay, yeah, sounds like it's doing good. So, I mean, after watching that, doesn't that just make you want to play guitar? I see that and I'm like, dude, I've really got to learn how to do that. I've really got to really get on my game. Been playing 20 years and cannot do anywhere near that. And he is my age. Okay, he's 37. So before it gets too late, I just wanted to sit and practice some intervals. I've been hearing a lot about intervals on a lot of different courses I've been taking by some different people on TrueFire and Udemy and different places like that. And so a lot of them stress intervals and also knowing the notes of the fretboard and things like that. And I definitely need some practice on that. I'm not very good at naming what this note is or what that note is or down here. Whereas people like Paul Gilbert can really just off the top of their head just name it. And I'm not very good at doing that. I have to actually go back and, okay, what's the octave pattern and all this other stuff. So I want to get better at that. And just in my spare time, evenings, things like that, when everything else during the day is done, practice a lot more than I have. Get my picking down a little bit better, different things like that. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, I've actually loaded up from the Zoom Multi-Stomp MS50G pedal that I demoed here on my very first Twitch stream from a few weeks back. I've got as close as I can to that tone. Now, I can't get exactly that tone, but I've looked up some of the gear that he uses, and he's a big DV Mark is the name of the amp that he uses. It's all solid state and digital stuff, and he just loads his effects in there, and he's ready to go with his SD card or whatever. But he was for a while using Mesa Boogie Mark III, I think, amps. So I found this actually has some Mesa Boogie amp settings in there, so I used that. And I put it through matter of fact, let me just see here what I've got. I've got my signal here is going into the ZNR1 noise gate, straight into the tube screamer, which gives it just that nice saturated tone, straight into the BG Crunch amp. Gain is like almost all the way up. Tone is at about 2 o'clock. Level is about 2 o'clock. That's about it. Well, it's at 100 on this. But I've got it going into, it's the Crunch amp, but I've got it going into the BG, which is Boogie, Drive 4x12 cabinet simulation. So it gave me a better sound. It was not as gritty, not as dirty, not as powerful, the regular cab that was with it, the Crunch cab. So I just changed it to the Drive cab, and I've got, let's see here, gain is 82, the tube is at 72, level is at 99 for some reason. I must have accidentally turned that, so let me fix that real quick. Okay. Page 2, treble is 57, middle is 46, bass is 55, pretty much straight up the board. I didn't really mess with that. May have to put some more treble in there or something, I don't know. But presence is 75, cabinet is BG Drive 4x12, and then the out is line out. So here, and then after that, I've got a super chorus for when I want a little bit of extra stereo tone, and then just the main delay that's on here. And the setting on that is 600 is the time. Feedback is about 10. Very background delay stuff. So it's there. It's just the imprint of delay. Nothing really in your face. The mix is at 20. And then after that, it's pretty much default. The tails are on. Levels at 100. It's mono instead of ping pong delay. Matter of fact, let me switch it to ping pong delay and see what that sounds like. So here's what the actual preset sounds like. If I can get my pick rearranged. Okay, and then I've got it on mono delay, which to me sounds the same. I mean, I don't know why they've got that on there. I may be missing something on that. But anyway. Okay, so you should be able to hear that very well. It's kind of low coming through what I'm hearing in the audio interface. It sounds better through the speakers. I may have to, mess around with it when I get it in. If I ever play anything in, traction in my DAW, because it sounds a little bit thicker compared to what Marco's tone is. So let's just say I wanted to scoop that mid a little bit. Sounds a little honky. Put some treble in there. Scoop. Maybe leave the bass where it is. Already it's sounding pretty good. So I just want to go over some actual interval practice. Now I'm using the charts from a book called The Efficient Guitarist by Mark Schonbrun, or Schonbrun, or however he pronounces his name. And it's a TrueFire course. On TrueFire.com, you can go to The Efficient Guitarist and see that course. And I've got actually printed out what I was wanting to work on, and that's what it looks like. It's all colorful. It's got some red and blues and oranges and things like that, those squares that you see that are the fretboard. And so that's what I'm working out of, is just a little binder that I created and printed out the most important aspects of that for me. And one of these is learning the intervals, and there's a whole chart here on the full forms of the different scales, which is basically pentatonic, major, minor, and then major, minor actual scales, and some arpeggios and things like that. So what I want to do is just actually go over some of the intervals that are in these scales, and it's very important to know them. Obviously, if you want to flatten a third, where's the third at? There's a couple places a third could be in different positions of the pentatonic scale. So for me, I want to get better at knowing that, so that when I'm playing, I can manipulate these scales. And an interval, if you're not familiar with that, is basically the distance between the two notes. And in the major scale, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you remember the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, that's the 7 notes. The last do is an octave of the original. So if I sing that, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, okay, so we have 7 steps or 7 intervals in that scale, in that major scale. Well, every scale has its own set of intervals, okay? We've got majors, minors, perfect intervals, different things like that. So I don't want to get too much in depth about it. You can look on some basic theory to find that out. I just want to start practicing a little bit before it's too late to go to bed. All right, so I want to use this tone. I'm going to put it on the pickup down here, the bridge pickup. Get a bit more crunch out of it. Okay, so let me go ahead and switch to the other view here so you can see a little bit better what's going on. Okay, so let's start. We got the first interval, the 1. That's the root, because it's a G minor. I'm in a G minor pentatonic. Matter of fact, let's go to A. It's a nice, rock and rolly sounding type thing. So we have the A. I'm not going to go by note names. I'm going to go by interval names. Okay, so we have the root, the flatted third, the 4th, the 5th, flatted 7th, and root. Okay, now it's a pentatonic scale. There's only 5 notes. Penta means 5, and tonic means tones. There's 5 tones. So those are the 5 tones: the root, flatted third, 4th, 5th, flatted 7th, and root. Now obviously there's more fretboard. There's 3 strings. There's 3 more strings. So what we want to do then is we can play the rest of that starting from there. It's the same interval pattern: root, flatted third, 4th, 5th, 7th, root, flatted third, back to root. Okay, so obviously whatever the top E string is, the bottom E string is as well. And when I say bottom, I mean from this part of the neck to that part of the neck. I know that technically this is the top string, this is the bottom string, but I'm going from the ceiling to the floor, top, bottom, okay? So it might be better to say the 1st and the 6th string. They're both E strings, so they're both going to have the same notes all the way around. Root 4, root third, flatted third, root flatted third. Now I'm going to check my sound real quick one more time to make sure this distortion is not blowing your ears away. I'm in G minor pentatonic. Matter of fact, let's go to A. Yeah, I could stand to probably turn it up just a little bit. So let's try that. All right, so I'm just going to sit here and mess around. It's good to know what the intervals are, but it's also good to know what they sound like. So I wouldn't just practice these randomly. Like, I want to hear them in context, because that's when they're really going to be musical. So I need a flatted third against the root. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find that flatted third back here, which is 2 frets back, 1 string down on A string, and that's on the 3rd fret, okay? So what I want to do is play those 2 notes together. So you can hear that's a minor sound, it's a minor third, so it's a minor sound. And you want to do this one after the other. Not necessarily as a chord, and let it ring out, but one at a time. And this is really good ear training. So train your ears to learn what these intervals sound like. By contrast, here's a major third. Okay, now that was the flatted third. Here's the 4th. Played together. Sounds almost like a power chord. The next one's a 5th. It does sound like a power chord because it is a power chord. Okay, so so that's a 5th, and we're going to continue on this way. Right? So and then we want to hear a flatted 7th. Okay, get that in your head. Listen to what that sounds like. Now we're going to go to the octave, which is basically 2 root notes together. We can hear they sound immediately very similar. So that's easy to pinpoint. Oh, it's the same pitch. That's got to be the octave. Okay. So then there's even more intervals. If we was in a major scale, they would have a regular 7. Very dissonant note. That wants to resolve back to the octave. We have a major 6. It almost sounds like switching from a 1 chord to a 4 chord. It's got that tonality to it. Okay, we have a major 2nd in a major scale. Okay, and since I'm kind of working up closer to the top of the guitar, I'll move that up so you can see. So I got to find, once again, I can't play both at the same time. Maybe I can do that. But I can't hear them both at the same time unless I move that 2nd down here. It's very dissonant as well. It wants to resolve because, for one thing, that's a suspended sound. The 2 and the 4 are suspended. Okay, so certain intervals have that quality, and especially suspended ones. All right, so then from there, what I would want to do, I might get distracted and want to noodle around a little bit and things like that. But then I would want to just, play some of these notes and be like, okay, that's the minor 7, it's the 5th, 4th, third, minor third, flat third. And then I want to go on to the next octave of that, so that'd be minor third. And then the fourth is next. And the fifth. So that's a power chord too. Even though it's a weird power chord because you've got that high string in there. It actually sounds pretty good though. I like it. And then from the fifth, you've got the minor flat seventh again, the flat seventh. And as I'm playing this, I'm locating them on the fretboard, not only visually and kind of seeing where they're at, but I want to hear them as well. Really pay attention to what they sound like. So when you hear something later on in the music, you'll be like, oh, I know that interval. That's a minor seventh, or, you know, a augmented fifth, or, you know, a diminished fifth, which is the tritone. Very evil sounding, you know, sinister sounding tone. So you want to get familiar with all these little intervals, and yes, some of them are not in the pentatonic scale. They're going to be around them, hidden. And once you get into major scales and different things like that, you can manipulate those notes even further. So yes, I had a fifth, and it has a distinct sound. It's got that power chord sound. But then from there, I can say I want to augment that fifth. So augment means to raise by half a step. So it's got that, you know, that 8 mile sound to it. You know, whatever, what do you call it? Augmented fifth. And then diminished fifth, we're going to bring it down. And the wonderful thing about intervals is we're on the 6th string, okay? So we're on the 6th string here. The intervals are going to be the same shape every time. I learned this years ago from I still remember it. It's a VHS tape, and I think it was, I forget what the name of it was, but the guy that taught it, his name is Don Latarski, Latarski, I think, and he's on YouTube. He's got a lot more videos than what he used to have, and he's gotten a lot older than what he used to be. He's got a beard and everything now, and before he was, you know, kind of, really in all actuality, he was kind of nerdy looking, but he really taught me a lot of good stuff on intervals, and that's where I started learning this stuff. And it was amazing. And if you ever get a chance to watch the video, if you can do it, do it. He probably has it on DVD now. I don't know. But it was like basic guitar theory or something like that. I don't even know if it had the word theory in it, but I recognize it because the cover of it, it had, oh man, you could tell it was like a 90s cover. It had like spheres with different interval names like ninth and major seventh and maybe even like Mixolydian and Dorian and things like that. He was talking about modes and stuff too, but it was really good. And one of these days I may break down and buy it again. It was so good. But just basic theory understanding. And what I'm saying is a sixth, a major sixth sound interval is always going to be, if you're on the 6th string, there's your root. If your root is there, that major sixth is always, always, always going to be 1 fret back and 2 strings down. So you're going to skip over the A string and bring it down to the D string. So now if you're ever playing a G chord and you want to hear a nice major 6 sound, that's a good jazzy chord to kind of end a song at. And I'm going to switch to my acoustic model here for this. Very nice sound. So if I want to play, you know, say I'm playing a standard chord progression, and I'm coming to the end of that song, and I end it on the 6th major. That's the 6th, okay? right, then we have let's see here. That's a 6 for A, major 6. That wants to resolve back to that 5. Okay. So once again, we all know the power chord shape. If you're a guitar player, you should know the power chord shape. Basically, the root note and your 5th is over here, 2 frets, and then 1 string down. And then if you're a real power chord player, you're going to put that pinky under there where the octave is. So you can have both root notes ringing out on either side of that 5th. So a 5th is always there. That's always going to be a 5th shape. If your root note is here on the 6th string, if it's on the 5th string, same thing. Although the major 6 is going to be a little different. Actually, it's going to be the same. So for the 5th and 6th string roots, I think the intervals are pretty much the same for the basic, top half of the intervals, all the way to the octave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, minor 6 or major 6, minor 6. Always going to look like that. Major 7. Always going to look like that. So they're always going to have the same shape, and that's one really good way to learn your intervals. Now, I learned that from the major scale where all those intervals were. And you start with 1, 1, 2, 3. 3 always looks like that on the 5th and 6th strings. 3rd. Okay, so if I'm in G, there's my 3rd. There's one of my 3rds, obviously. There's more than 1/3 on a. There's the other B note, so that's a 3rd. 1, 2, 3. If I'm an A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or octave. We could have a minor 7, and it's good to try to sing this as well. I'm learning, the more you try to sing this, it's going to be implanted in your head, because obviously if you don't really pay attention to it when you're talking, but when you're singing, especially if you have earbuds in your ears, that's a really good way to center focus the sound in your head. So if you ever put earbuds in your ear and nobody's talking to you and you start humming, you can really hear it really well. So that's a good idea to try to maybe practice with earbuds in, no other music, and just hum these intervals. Octave, major 7, major 6, minor 7, 5th, 4th, 3rd, and go down to the 2nd, and what you have here is unison, if it's in tune, which mine isn't all the way in tune, close enough. So, yes, that's ear training, but you also visually want to see this. So I'm going 1, 3, 1 flat 3rd, 4, 5, flat 7, 1, root. And yes, that's going up the scale as it's written down. As you go up the scale, you're going to name these 1, 3, 4, flat 5, flat 7, 1, flat 3. But you want to do this randomly too. So I can go octave, 5th, and then go this next root, 5th. That's a 4th. Now it took me a split second to remember what it was based visually on what it was on my little chart here on the fretboard diagrams. But my ear keyed me into what that looked like, and also this shape. Remember I said from the root, the certain shapes apply. Well, the next string, the 4 is always going to look like that. Your root here, your 4 is directly beneath it. There's a 3rd. So they're always going to have the same, unique shapes here. So I would go back to this. Root 5, root minor third, flat 7, octave, flat third. Now, what you could do here is don't play the root and just remember the notes. See if you can memorize them. That's flatted 7th, 5th, 5th, flat 3rd, root, flat 3rd, flat 7th, flat 7, 5th, 4th. That one seems to be harder to remember because it's, I don't know, it's just on its own. 4, 4, 1. You always go back to 1 though for a reference. And then maybe play a lick. So I'm bending up from the 4th to the 5th, 5th, 1, 7th, flat 7, 5th, 4th, flat 3rd, root. Okay, so combine that with licks, and see what you can do with that. Yeah, and it just gets more and more. And this is just one shape. Okay, this is one shape of an interval. And yes, it can get boring doing this, but it's easy to get lost as well, and just finally hear and know what you're doing, what it means. And that's what music theory does. It opens up a world of understanding on music when you can figure out, decipher what this all means. Okay, and you can really open up your scales and do different things like that. Now, that's box 1. Let's go to box 2 here. Okay, now I practiced box 1 a lot, so I was kind of more familiar with those intervals as well. But this box 2 I haven't even touched, and I've just started messing around with some of this lately, so I'm in the dark here. Obviously that's a flatted 3rd because that's what I started with. So flatted 3rd has to be a 4th, 5th, flatted 7th, back to the octave, flatted 3rd, 4th, 5th, flatted 7th, octave, flatted 3rd, flatted 5th, and it's always in numerical order. Root, flat 3rd, 4th, 5th, flat 7. Root, flat 3rd, 4th, 5th, flat 7. Root, so on and so forth. So that's easy to find, but going backwards is a little difficult. See, right offhand, I don't even know what this is. I forgot what we said it was. So I have to hear a root now in relation to that. So the root. So that's a 4, because there's my root. Now, I didn't know that by ear. I knew that by the shape, which is directly underneath the root. So that's a 4. Let's do a random one here. That's a root. That's a flat 7th. Because I know a 7th is directly beneath or directly behind a root. Okay. Flat 7th. It's another 4th. Flat 3rd because I'm going backwards. Root. And here is a 5th. And then you just play around with the intervals. You say, okay, I like this sound. This is a 5th, augmented 5th. Or you can consider the augmented 5th as a 6, because it's the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, flat 3rd, 4, 5, flat 6. It's a flat 6. So it's really a flat 6 is in a minor 6 is in a minor scale. One, 5th, think we said that was a minor 7th. Yep, minor 7th. Back to the root. 4, flat 3rd. And that one. Now this is difficult going backwards. Usually I'm used to hearing intervals moving and ascending, but hearing them backwards is kind of weird. I'm gonna call that a 5th. Yeah. And if you're used to playing bass, like if I'm here on an A, your 5th is always 5th. 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1. Now, if my root is here on another string, right here, the 5th is here again, but it's also directly behind, directly below. So the 5th is beneath that, and that's what I was hearing. Now with the B string being tuned differently to the rest of the strings, the shape doesn't work out between the B string and the G string. It tends to between the B and the E string. That's still a 4th, but from a G, that's not a 4th. That's a 4th if you're going from the root on the G string. If you're going from this root here, which was an A, back, that's a 5th, okay? So I like to go from a root below and find out where it is. That would have been easy to find a 5th. See, like I couldn't go high root and where is my minor 7? Obviously it's here, but I couldn't find it down here. That was lucky. So it's easy to find intervals going from a low to a high rather than reverse. But who's to say that that wouldn't be a good idea for you to try? I don't know. Now it's easier, it's better for me to just look at the chart and figure out where these are instead of just guessing and listening and things like that, because that'll take forever. I've got a cheat sheet in front of me. Why not use it and then try to memorize it from there? So flat 3rd, 4th, 5th, flat 7th, root, flat 3rd, 4, 5, flat 7th, root, flat 3rd, 4. Okay, so let's go back to my Marco Svoli, which I've dubbed Svoli lead here. Okay, let's put some chorus on that, shall we? I've got some chorus loaded. I don't play with the second position a whole lot in minor pentatonic, except for the lower strings, or the thinner strings. Because it's so much easier to just slide back into first position. But that's a weakness I have, so why not work on that? So once again, here's the one. This is a oral, ear hearing focal point. Then I can start the next scale. So flat 3rd, 4th, 5th, flat 7th, 1 root, flat 3rd, flat or 5th, flat 7th. Excuse me, I had that wrong. Root, flat 3rd, 4th. I skipped the 4th. 4th, 5th, flat 7th. Root, flat 3rd, 4th, and so on and so forth. So if I like the sound, here's another example. If I like the sound of bending the 3rd, then if I know where the 3rd is in every single spot of every scale, then I can always go back and get that same sound. Okay, and that's where you unlock the secrets of the fretboard, as you know where all these things are. So, off the top of my head, the third is right here. Minor third. And it's right here. Okay, so if I bend it those three places down to the root, or in this case, down to the root of the box 2 position. And let's do the same thing with a fifth. So here's a fourth to a fifth. So I'm going to bend it up just slightly to the flat fifth, which is a diminished fifth, which is typically referred to as the blues note, a flat 5. So another one of those is fourth to fifth. Combine both of those. If I knew the third and the fourth and all these other ones in the other places, then I can get to those. If I'm soloing down here and all of a sudden we'll do an epic solo, and then I know that my root, going from one of the most popular places to play anything, is the flat 7 bent to the root. Okay, so if I know where that is, up here, now that should be box 3, if I'm not mistaken. So I know that every time I'm in box 3, when I hit that G string, the second note on the G string, right there is my bend to the root. Okay. Another one is, let's see, box 4. Now I can bend with my first finger here, but it's much easier to hit that from the 5th position, or excuse me, from the box 3. And it is my first finger to bend 2 steps. The other place for that is, find the octave. Okay, so that's the power of intervals, is being able to find where you're at, be able to hit those notes in every single instance of the scale. So what I recommend you do is you find a scale book, or you sign up for a course like Mark Schonbrun's, The Efficient Guitarist. Now he also has it in book, it's on Lulu. If you look up The Efficient Guitarist or Mark Schonbrun, which is here it is down here, SCHONBRUN, and Mark is MARC. You can get that book in print or buy it on PDF on Lulu. That's where he sells it. But if you get it through TrueFire, there's a few extra things in there. So I decided I've been wanting to get this book for a long time, and I've seen it. I wanted to get into it, and so I picked it up, and it's really good. It scales, and it's not just names of the notes. It's intervals. So it actually will help you learn and understand intervals. Or you can just find another scale book. There's tons of them out there. But get one that shows you the intervals of each note in a scale. Okay? That right there will help so much, tremendously. One thing I like about Mark's course is that he goes over his efficient guitarist is basically the most efficient way that he's found to play certain scales. Some of them are combinations of 3-note per string, and some of them are combinations of the cage method. And also he has what he calls the performance forms of each one of these pieces here, each one of these scales. Now, for example, performance positions, he has the scale, the full scale, so minor. So if I was to do, for example, Let me find a root note here. I need minor performance positions, form 1. Yeah. He's got the full scale listed at the top on the fretboard. So this is G, G minor. Now, that was a caged method kind of shape. A lot of people really harp against that. They like 3-note per strings, blah, blah, blah. It's up to you. But his efficient part of this is that it's easy to get to, and he doesn't have to do a lot of big stretching and things like that. Now, that is the scale in its entirety for that, area of the fretboard. What he does is he pulls out the pentatonic from that, directly below that. So we got the pentatonic, G minor pentatonic. I'm turn that chorus off. And then below that, directly below that, he's got the arpeggio, which I'm terrible at playing, but I understand the concept of. Basically, it's a broken chord. And in this case, he uses the root, the third, and the fifth of that scale. In this case, it's a root, a flatted third, and a 5 for a minor. That's where we hear all these sweeps, which I'm terrible at, but that's where they come from, is arpeggios, or more importantly, 1, 3, 5 intervals of these scales that gives us chords. Okay, so that's a G minor chord right there. And that is a 5, 1, flat third, 5, root. The 1, 3, 5 of basically any scale gives us the chord. Okay, so this is, if this is over your head, check out some basic theory lessons like that Don Otarski thing, or just find some theory things online. So I think that's probably all I'm going to go over right now. I've had a lot of fun practicing. This has been more of a instructional video instead of me actually practicing, so which I was afraid it would turn into, because it feels like I have to have some kind of topic to talk about before I can't just, who's going to sit here and watch me noodle on a guitar, all day long, just messing around. To me, I don't know, maybe Twitch is the place for that. I noticed they have an IRL, which is in real life, and basically I would be doing things in real life, playing guitar and things like that. Good to see. Own It 256. Play something by Pink Guy. I don't know who Pink Guy is. Sorry about that. Right now, I'm not taking requests because I'm very new to Twitch, and personally I need to get better on my own skills before I start taking requests. There are several things that I like to play, and several people that I like to play, and I'm not really good at playing all of them. I just do the best I can. I get around. I play my own thing, so I don't take requests as of yet. I don't know if I'll ever take requests, to be honest with you. I don't know how that's going to work. I just want to play guitar the best I know how to play, and hopefully do some more. Maybe do some cover songs of artists that I like. Like one of my favorite songs is is Love Thing by Joe Satriani, one of my favorite songs. Another one he's got is, I think it's called 10 Words. Really pretty song, starts in C. Kind of starts off like that. But yeah, as far as music, I'd love to be able to get some more backing tracks and play some more things like that. But I just want to sit and hang out and do another stream. I haven't done one in about a week, seems like. And I'm getting behind on that. I sit down every time and I want to do a stream, but I'm like, it has to be interesting. What am I going to do to be interesting? It's almost like I got to entertain everybody, but instead of just be myself and just play what I want to play, which is what I want to do. I mean, I don't want anything special, just want to get better at guitar, And at the end of the day, when you've practiced, it's time to jam out and play a little bit. So that's kind of what I want to do now. So I'm just going to jam a little bit before I call it quits. Thanks so much for giving me that request and for joining me today on It 256. Sorry I couldn't get to your request, but It looks like I've already had 123 views. That's awesome. That's really cool. So hopefully people have been enjoying this lesson and can learn something from that. I'm not on here to teach lessons, teach guitar and things like that. I just want to play. Just want to have a good time. That's what my YouTube channel is for, is teaching guitar lessons and things like that, which I'll probably post this video to it since it actually qualifies as a lesson now. But that's all right. That gives me extra footage, fodder for YouTube. See what else we could play here. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I would love to sit here and play even more, but it's getting late. And even though I'm not sleepy, I don't want to make myself stay up just because. So hopefully you've been able to hear that. Yes, I think everything has gone through really well. So I appreciate you watching, and I appreciate you staying tuned to the stream. Don't know what else I'll come up with. This is the minor pentatonic. I definitely want to get into some major stuff and some minor actual scales and practicing and getting better at it. So maybe as I do this during the day, I'll just randomly stream it. I don't know. It feels like I got to put on a show instead of actually focus on what I'm doing, and I don't want to do that. I want to actually just play and just try to get better at it, obviously. So that's what I'm hopefully striving for here on this channel, at least for right now. So thanks so much for watching, and I'm going to get off here and try my best to kind of settle down and ease on into getting ready for bed so I can get ready for the work day tomorrow. Thank you, guys, and keep playing guitar, keep watching the channel, and maybe as I get some more follows on here, as I watch some more people, I can maybe host some more people on my channel. So it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. Thanks, and we'll talk to you later. God bless.